I'm going to read a book to you today, or a section from a book called Who Let the Gods Out. It's a really good book if you're into mythology, and it's all about different gods from the past and from star signs and things like that. So I think it's a really good fantasy kind of story. I'll read the back to you. It's got some really lovely drawings on the back to go with it. So it said, when Eliot wished upon a star, he didn't expect a constellation to crash into a dung heap. Virgo thinks she's perfect. Eliot doesn't. Together they release Thanatos, evil demon of death. Epic fail. But they need the king of gods and his noble steed. But instead, they get chubby Zeus and his high horse Pegasus. Are the gods really ready to save the world? And is the world really ready for the gods? Okay, I'm going to start with chapter 1. If you enjoy it, see if you can find it in the library or see if you can find it around somewhere. It's a really, really lovely book. So, the first chapter is called Lying Low, where we meet our main character, Eliot. It began on a Friday, as strange things often do. This particular Friday turned out to be stranger than most, although it had started normally enough. Eliot Hooper got up at 7:30 a.m, as normal, made his mum breakfast at 8:15 a.m, as normal, went to school at 8:55, as normal, and was in the headmaster's office by 9:30 a.m, which was, in fact, slightly later than normal. Oh, Eliot, sighed Graham Sopweed, headmaster of Brismore's Grammar School. What are we going to do with you? Eliot scratched his shaggy blonde head. He figured that, excuse me from school forever and make me Lord High Emperor of the universe, wouldn't be deemed an acceptable answer. So he said nothing. You seem rather distracted lately, said Mr. Sopweed to fill the silence. Is everything okay? Eliot avoided his headmaster's concerned stare. School was, well, it was school. Annoying, boring, pointless, nothing new there. But home, that was a different story. I'm fine, Eliot said after a lengthy pause. Thank you, though. Oh, Eliot, Mr. Sopweed sighed again, nervously flicking his floppy grey fringe. You know you can call me Graham. Let's all use the names our mothers gave us. There were many more creative names for Brismore's headmaster than the one his mother gave him. But the politest that Eliot could use by far was, call me Graham. A shout outside nearly made the jumpy headmaster fall off his chair. Eliot couldn't help but feel sorry for Call Me Graham. There were many theories at school as to why he was such a bag of nerves. Not all of them started by Eliot. Some said it was because his wife had left him. Others said it's because she hadn't. Eliot's favourite was that Call Me Graham was actually a serial killer on the run. He could imagine the appeals on Crime Watch, so be on your guard against Graham Sopweed, the cardigan-clad killer, and be sure to kill this number if he's bored someone else you know to death. The thing is, Eliot, everyone at Brismore wants to help you achieve your full potential, Call Me Graham went on. Not everyone, sir, muttered Eliot. Whatever do you mean? Squealed Call Me Graham, nearly pulling a button off his cardigan. Everyone at Brismore is committed to encouraging and inspiring every pupil. We're always here for a friendly word, helpful advice, or where is that snivelling runt of a pathetic excuse for a boy? The office door blasted open with a furious roar, making Call Me Graham scream like a kitten on a ghost train. Eliot was all too familiar with that loathsome voice. Ah, hello, whimpered Call Me Graham. As you can see, I'm just having a little chat with Eliot. Hooper, sneered the new arrival, lurching up behind Eliot's chair and polluting his airspace with a weapon grade of body odour. There was only one person who could make Eliot's surname sound like a dirty word. It was Mr. Boyle, head of history, Brismore's deputy headmaster, and unless there was a schoolmaster somewhere else on the planet who minced his students into sausages, the world's worst teacher. Boyle was a stumpy, piggy little man who was the only person Eliot knew with fat eyes. He squashed them behind a pair of thick bottled lenses and glared at his pupils like most people look at used cat litter, as if he had a permanently nasty smell underneath his nose. In fairness, he did, his own breath. His few remaining strands of dark, greasy hair were pasted over the top of his head and held in place by hope alone. To the naked eye, Mr. Boyle had 3 chins, but who knew many more were probably lurking beneath his shirt, which always smelt like 3-week-old vegetable soup. He truly hated everyone, but reserved a special revulsion for Elliot, who had been getting up his pudgy nose for the past year. "Sir?" asked Elliot innocently. "Don't you sir me, Hooper," growled Boyle, bringing his sweaty face millimetres from Elliot's own. "What you did in my assembly was disgraceful, disrespectful, and downright disgusting." "Yes, sir, we were going to get on to that," stammered Graham. "He disgraced the Brisemore's name," roared Boyle. "He shamed himself. He shamed the school. He ruined my brilliant PowerPoint presentation on Napoleon's favourite socks. He fell asleep," said Call Me Graham quietly, looking at Elliot's pale face and dark-rimmed eyes. "This isn't the first time this has happened lately, Elliot. Why are you so tired?" "Pah!" spat Boyle. "Out all hours terrorising the old ladies, I expect. Or playing violent computer games until dawn. Or putting my underpants on my school flagpole again." Elliot tried not to smirk at the memory of his all-time favourite prank, which Boyle knew, but could never prove, that Elliot was responsible for last year. But pranks were long gone. These days, Elliot couldn't afford to get into any more trouble. "Hooper!" shouted Boyle. "The headmaster asked you a question. Don't be so disrespectful." "It's quite all right," whispered Mr. Graham. "Elliot can take all the time." "Be quiet, Graham!" shouted Boyle over his shoulder, his chubby eyes not leaving Elliot's face. "And look at the state of you. When was the last time that shirt saw an iron? And if I've told you once about that pocket watch, jewellery is forbidden. Well, come on, let's hear your pathetic excuse." Elliot's fingers instinctively tightened around his old watch in his pocket. For a moment, he considered telling the truth. Perhaps his headmaster could help him. Elliot certainly didn't know what to do. Maybe if he just explained about... But as soon as the thought formed in his head, he silently crushed it. Elliot had to keep his secrets from home, all about the things that had been happening, secret. "Mr. Boyle's right, sir," said Elliot, the lie jamming in his throat. "I keep staying up late playing video games," he lied. "You see," wobbled Boyle triumphantly, punching the air with an arm the size of a fatty leg of lamb and knocking Call Me Graham backwards off his chair. "I knew it." "Do you have nothing to say in your defence, Elliot?" asked Call Me Graham from the floor. "Anything else we should know?" "No, sir," Elliot mumbled. "Well, thank you, Mr. Boyle," said Call Me Graham. Elliot's heart sank at the reminder that he now had to go into school and think about the exams he was sure to fail. He tried to find time to study at home. He really did, but he was just so distracted by his secrets. "Please, Elliot," said Call Me Graham, "let us help you." "It's just sometimes," Elliot began, finding it impossible to search for the words. "Detention!" Boyle bellowed as he lumbled jubilantly out of the office. "Hooper, see me after school." And that's the end of the first chapter. So you'll have heard that Elliot's got some things that are happening, maybe to do with the title, maybe to do with those people, those characters I told you about in the blurb, who might be distracting him a little bit at home. And maybe there's some significance of that pocket watch he is holding onto. So the next chapter and the next part of the book goes back to where he's at home, and we start to meet, each chapter meets the different gods that have been let out, who let the gods out. And they have to, as it said on the book, on the blurb, are the gods really ready to save the world? And is the world really ready for the gods? Really good book. I really recommend it. Definitely for kind of year 4, 5 and 6, but year 3 or year 2, you can maybe get a parent to read it to you. Really, really lovely book. Have a great day. Bye bye.